Welcome to the bold analysis. In 2018, something happened in this country when the national media was shut completely under the watch of former Interior Secretary, Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, and it caused a lot of panic in public. Now today, or rather, in the wake of Raila Odinga's mass action that was held on Monday, there is a worded letter, two-page worded letter that has been sent to the media houses by Communications Authority of Kenya. And many people have been I saw people getting to my comment section asking me about, to my inbox asking me about what is my take on it. And I know for those who have not looked at it, I want us to go through this letter bit by bit so that we can make an interpretation, an informed interpretation on what exactly this would mean. The letter is written, broadcast coverage of demonstrations. It is saying, today the authority completed a review of broadcast coverage of opposition demonstrations held on 20th March. The authority has established that at least 6 TV stations, Citizen TV, NTV, K24, KBC, TV47 and Ebro, provided coverage in a manner that violated the programming code. The coverage depicted scenes that could cause panic or incitement to the public, threatening peace and cohesion in the country. And after that, he has given a list of obligations there. Let me get you to clause 2, which I want us to look at some 2 clauses. Let's look at the clause 2. Clause 2 to clause 461, Kenya Information and Communications Act, which requires licensed broadcasters to provide responsible and responsive programming that caters for the varied needs and susceptibilities of different sections of Kenyan community. 3. Clauses 19, 1C and D, Kenya Information and Communications Broadcasting Regulations, which requires a licensee to ensure that no broadcasts by its station glorifies violence or depicts violence in an offensive manner or is likely to incite perpetual hatred, vilify any person or section of the community. Okay. So they've complained a bit, and the last bit they are saying, while the authority promotes freedom of the press, it is imperative that all broadcasters exercise caution in live coverage in order to avoid scenes that will be detrimental to peace and cohesion. Take notice that failure to adhere to the outlined obligations can be acting in breach of license conditions, which shall attract liability under relevant provisions of the law, including revocation of the broadcast license or broadcast frequencies. That letter was written by Director General and the CEO, Ezra, Chilobba, complaining about the media coverage. As a viewer, what do you make of their complaints? What do you make of that complaint? They're saying that if you go on in that direction, then you can attract penalties, which include even revoking the license. Now, for me, I want to speak from a point of what I have been seeing the world practice over, and again, some realities into this. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you very much for those who are supporting us from every part of the world. I do understand that media is an enabler of democracy. And one of the roles is giving information, interpreting that information, instructive instructing, bonding the message, diversion, and analyzing the message. In such, like for the Monday protest, I think there is what we don't want to talk about, but it was something called the public interest. The public interest in that Monday demonstration, I think the stake was high. I understand that even the same day Rigathi Gachagua was in Mombasa for launching some relief food, President William Ruto was in State House swearing in of the Solicitor General. Both of them were covered. But could you cut a live broadcast of the demonstrations to have a split screen with Rigathi Gachagua's event in Mombasa or President Ruto's swearing in Nairobi, in State House? You could create. You cannot do that because the public interest was on that Monday demo. Look at it this way. Even the day before, you were seeing a war of words. People sharing, people contradicting messages from both sides of the political divide, both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja. So even Kenya Kwanza supporters were also glued in TV, and everyone wanted to know what exactly is happening. So you need to ask yourself, what do you think Kenyans would consume by then? And if you are even to cut and not to tell people what's happening in the Monday demo, remember it had been banned on Sunday. I think that was on Sunday. There was a press briefing saying that that was illegal. Azimio la Umoja gave a rebuttal that it was going on and they were going to meet there. So everyone was waiting what exactly was going to happen. So in terms of this, I know that live coverage, and many people, I need to acknowledge this, live coverage have some privileges, and there are privileges that comes with there's a risk of overexposing stuff. I was just looking at Raila when you were away. I think when Raila was coming from America in 2017, I think that was 2018. I was looking at that video, the 1 hour video, and I saw scenes. The media covered scenes. A place where after the confrontation between the public and the police, until the police were repulsed, and even a police lorry truck was torched. I saw that clip and I was like, fine, it has the potential, but that is what the publics want to hear. So to that extent, there is a bit of a limitation, and this is it. Raila Odinga social media page was active and they were live for 3 hours in Facebook. ODM and his Facebook page. By the way, most of these media houses, not all of them could afford to put that machinery, to put the lives of the journalists in the line and cover it. I don't think all of them were in the train. Some got this feed from Raila Odinga. So even if the media was not to cover it, the Raila team had done it. And look at what the international media reported and what our media stations reported. There was a bit of that difference. But then this is it. What is causing the panic? Is it the coverage of the opposition protests, or it is the protests? I want to point out some few things. When Raila Odinga was leaving Serena and he wanted to go to CBD, and so they were repulsed, and even after making the decision that Sasa they're not coming to town, they're going the other end, there were still tear gas canisters thrown their way. There are scenes of the MPs getting arrested. There are scenes of some protesters getting arrested. There are the other scenes when they're around I think after they went to the Eastlands, the confrontation between the police, those things are available. And so you wonder yourself, you just try to figure out. The scenes create, when the media is there, it shows some transparency. And what is happening, according to me, is better people know what is going on. And I'm acknowledging that live coverage sometimes can expose everything. But I feel it's better people know what's happening so that you seal propaganda loopholes. Let me tell you. Let's just take it. Raila leaves Serena. He is tear gassed. And instead of making his way to Eastlands, he realizes that all the TV stations are shut. Or the Facebook page cannot work. So he cannot go live. What do you expect? What will stop some very rogue person who is an enemy of the country to say that Raila has been arrested? Look at it. So according to me, I agree. I am totally in order. It's totally in order for the call that maybe they're exposing everything. But then I tend to think that when people know what's happening, it will seal the propaganda loopholes. In fact, the reverse is more dangerous than what we are saying. Now, we are saying there is a bit of it's glorifying. It should not glorify. Yes, it should not glorify. So, this is the point. There is a protest. People are being arrested. The leaders have been arrested. Someone has been driven to DCI from DCI to Kiambu police station. Raila Odinga is tear gassed. And all of that is going on. As a journalist, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to come out and condemn in totality? Is it your role to condemn in totality what has gone wrong, or your role is to report first? At that moment, is your role to report or to come out and condemn? Because it's here. People are being tear gassed. The seats zinaonekana. People are being arrested. What do? I don't think. I know that to some extent, I don't know if there is a law that do not allow you to show people the live scenes of that encounter. According to the journalist safety protocols, here is in terms of that, in that situation, the journalists should be on the side of the police. Yes, you should be on the side of the police because the police are supposed to protect you. So if you're keen, and that's why if you're keen, go and check the Kibera's video where the police were trying to repulse protesters from coming to town. The crew were actually behind the police. You will hear them talking now. Shots they're supposed to take behind or with the police, because if you are the other side, you will be regarded as one of them, even though you also need to take your personal safety responsibility. Ukiwa mahali, you should always look at a corner that if things are going wrong, which corridor can I take? Which corner can I take? But you're supposed to be on the side of the police. So this is something that, to me, as much as we want to look at it as being to the extreme, but it also seals propaganda loophole. I can tell you, you can hear very many stories. Because everyone else, by midday, everyone else was asking, where is Raila? Now, you use Shark TV, or maybe the TV stations are not showing anything. They're not showing either what's happening in KSCC, what's happening where. So, where do the public, even those people who are at home, someone just tell them, I hear that so-and-so is, and people will come out. I'm also wondering, where do you draw the line between being sensational and being factual? If the news in itself it's factual but sensational, the gentleman who was shot in Maseno, that news is factual. The video is there. The gentleman who was shot in Toy Market, the video is there. That news is factual, but it's sensational. When people hear someone has been shot, the guy was killed, the guy who died in Kisumu, it's factual, but it's sensational. The arrest of Opiyo Wandayi, it's factual, but it's sensational. Raila blocked from going to CBD all the way from Serena. It's factual, but sensational. So where do you draw the line? Why do you draw the line? I don't know. For me, I tend to believe that people just needs to be told what's happening. People need to be told what's happening, because without that, it can be factual, it will hurt other people, but again, it's better they know. Lastly, there is another role of the media that we are not looking at. They also play the vigilance role. They also help there. They're also an enabler of a fair ground. Look at it this way. Protesters are being arrested. I saw in CBD, some were being arrested, and people were there with the phones and the cameras were all there. What can happen if the cameras are not there? Can you try to reason? I remember when I was analyzing a day before that Sunday night, I was saying that cameras will be all over, and so those thugs that want to take advantage of that protest to do their own things must be put on notice. Why am I saying that? I was saying that because the media also helps to mitigate the excesses. I know that to some, and you need to sometimes bear with the police officers. Kuna watu wengine among the protesters who are just naughty and they just want to provoke you. Some are saying they want to die, they don't care. How about if the media is not there and someone is being arrested and is trying to, what can happen? So that role, I remember during Firimbi operation, we used to come from Upper Hill. The directive was very well that the cameras were looking at where is Raila. Where is Raila? That is where every lens will look at. Where's Raila? And then the other side. There is a photo of a gentleman who was alikanyagwangwa during those IBC protests. The photo came viral. When the media is there, they also help to reduce the excesses, because hakuna mtu atafanya kitu mbaya sana. Hakuna mtu atapiga tu mtu akawa tu kamera inamuona. It won't. We are not looking at that aspect, but that is also a very important thing we need to look at. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my bold. I think Ezra Chilobba's letter needs to be relooked deep before we even then try to caution the media houses on that. But again, there is also an element of restraint that is needed.